Formalities out of the way, we can welcome everybody to this edition of What's Going On Community Conversations with Creatives and Community Leaders. My name is Dana J of the Producer's Edge. I'm thankful to be hosting and sharing this experience with everybody. What I'd like to do now is have everybody give a quick intro, and quick could be anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes, maybe even 5. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, what do you do? You have a preferred gender pronoun, he, she, they. Please specify so we know how to properly identify you. And tell us what you've been doing and what you've got going on lately with the insanity of the global pandemic. Well, there's like 2 pandemics, right? There's Corona and racism. So let us know what you've got going on in the midst of that. Somebody else can start. I can be the last one to lead that charge.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first. Is that how it goes, ladies? All right. Well, what's good, guys? My name is more Sienna, please, also known as DJ Sienna Chanel. And I'm a DJ. I'm also an educator. I've been doing some acting. I've been a model for quite some time. And I like to call myself an activist as well. So, what I've been doing and what I've been up to has been finishing up some filming. Hopefully, these short films will be coming out soon. A series that I'm in, I'm shooting some of that soon as well. Been working on some tracks, some music, personally, not even like on a DJ tip, but on some, I could sing too. So I was doing some of that. Working out a lot. Shouts out to therbs.com. I'm on their 20-day fast right now. Raw food vegan, going well. Running over 3 miles. I mean, I don't know. Quarantine's been good to me, so I don't know what else anybody wants to know or say, but I'm just grateful, and I'm interested in finding out what you guys want to specifically talk about tonight.
I go next. Hello, everyone. DJ SonSu of North New Jersey. I am the CEO of Funk You Cafe. We had Funk You Cafe podcast. Funk You Cafe is also a production company doing events. During this pandemic, I have been able to regroup my business and try to expand a little bit more, reaching out to other community, other friends of mine that are in same business as far as like Producers Edge, Spencer, and Gonzalo, and you guys, y'all doing a great job in the community. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to reach or put a few new shows, Funky Cafe, as a variety show, which will include ladies and lyrics, and our new idea that we have called the Vibe Controller, where we would be interviewing DJs, producers, musicians, engineers, everybody that contributes to making a vibe that makes people dance and just be free. Tulu was helping me out with this situation due to COVID. My residency at Express Newark was canceled. Like, as soon as I got it, it got canceled. So, that was a whole part of the regrouping and trying to network with other organizations. Personally, during the pandemic, I was able to find out more about myself, learn more about myself, trying to use my resources a little bit more than what I have been doing. And just trying to keep myself around great energy and great people that are doing like great things, like Sienna, is a friend of mine. Gonzalo, just met Spencer this year. I've been seeing Spencer like all last year. We finally linked up. And just trying to keep the positivity going and trying to, just trying to get in experience expressing myself in a better way than I have been doing. And, that's about it. Still exercising. I'm still trying to keep myself together. Been trying to eat a little better and, spend more time with my family.
I want to give a shout out to Tolu as well, who's helping you with your comeback show, right? AKA Godson Tony. And you know I'm gonna be involved. He's been telling me all about it. And I look forward to that. That's gonna be nice. Yeah, man. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Sienna and Myster-e. Since the guests have been sharing, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for this platform, first and foremost. My name is Eric Shandroff, aka Myster-e. I like to say in the classroom it's Mr. E. To those who don't know me, I'm a mystery. So I'm a poet, MC, hip hop artist, educator, edutainer, all around creative artist and storyteller. I've been dabbling in different forms of writing throughout. I've actually been getting into some script writing. I've had a very, close loved one, like a best friend of mine, who passed away during the pandemic. So I've been kind of, dealing with that loss, and, a lot of our conversations that we had, we always spoke about doing forms of script writing. So I'm trying to bring some of that back to life. I've been very active. I work with an organization, a nonprofit, which we recently just brought Spencer as a part of the team as a fellow. It's called Rappers and Rabbis. So not only am I a fellow with that program, I'm also an organizer. So we're working on multiple fronts with that nonprofit, but specifically for the times going on with all the racism and all that included, we're also working on trying to rebuild the communication between the Jewish population and the African American population. I've done in the past, I was this past year in 2019, I was on the New Jeru slam poetry team. We went and competed out in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I did a piece with a Jersey poet named Roddy. And we did a piece that spoke about the Holocaust, African American slavery, and marijuana all fused into one piece. As in, we're like smoking each other's we're smoking, but we're hallucinating on each other's histories. So that was a piece we did last year, but now we actually got a budget from the nonprofit to actually reshoot that video with some green screen maybe in the background. So I've been brainstorming for that. I dropped a total of 3 music videos and spoken word videos throughout the quarantine. One when the coronavirus first hit, called The Outbreak. A second one called The Quarantine Chronicles, kind of speaking about just documenting just the quarantine life. And then most recently I put out a music video called You Are Essential, which is a tribute to the essential workers and first responders during this time. So I wrote, recorded, directed, and edited the entire video myself. So I published that, was promoting that for quite a bit. Aside from that, again, just trying to keep healthy, like many of you guys are on my fitness, trying to do like anywhere from 150 to 200 push-ups a day, trying to get my dumbbell, just calisthenics work. And then, just life, the, day-to-day things, and just trying to stay positive, trying to read more, stay healthy, stay creative, stay grateful, and network. And that's about it for now.
What's up, E?
What's up, bro? It's been a while. I was telling them, it's since Woo World Radio.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
You've been busy. You've been busy, Myster-e. That's a lot. That's beautiful.
It is, but what I actually had a conversation. I've been busy, but there's also like, I think over, everything in which I listed is like over what now, like a 4 or 5 month period. So I'm glad
it's been a while. Yeah, has it been 4 months? Oh my gosh.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's definitely a lot of breaks in between. You could accomplish all those things in multiple months, but day to day, there's definitely, I'm still taking my dogs out for walks, on the railroad, and just trying to balance the busyness and also, the downtime, which is also essential.
Word. So thank you, man. I'm gonna introduce myself real quick, and then I'll like bounce for like 20 minutes, half an hour, just to blast the world that this is happening. Make sure we get some more people on. But yeah, I'm Spencer Froh, one of the co-founders of Producers Edge, and I'm really looking forward to what this conversation brings, because it's like you could use these conversations that have been going on for the last couple months already to see sort of the progression and the evolution of what's going on in people's heads right now. Because on day one, like I mentioned before, day one was like right at the beginning of the protests, right after George Floyd was murdered. And then every couple weeks since then, like people are going through a whole different set of like, it's almost like you go through different phases of grief or something, right? And so we're going through different phases of grief, or activism, or creativity, or like community involvement, or self, like you were saying, like could be health, or it could be mental health, or it could be learning. A lot of people, like everyone already said that they've been growing or learning or building something new during this time that maybe wouldn't have been happening, or not the same way without all this other stuff going on. So it's very interesting to see that progress. So yeah, I think we're just seeing like, it's like the litmus test for where we're at now as creatives, and we're all community based people. Like we're about creating and supporting community, and there's a lot of community happening right now, even from a distance, which is good to see. I'm glad, like, this isn't gonna, what would this have been like 10-20 years ago when we didn't have Zoom and stuff like that? It would have been a very different experience. So we're in the right time to be digital. And I'm getting better and better at editing, so I'm getting into the video thing. I didn't know you were doing video, Myster-e, so let's talk about that at some point. Not necessarily here, but I'd love to chop
Definitely.
yeah, and potentially create something in the Rappers and Rabbis program. That should be wild. Yeah, that is wild. So yeah, look forward to that. So yes, who's next? Gonzalo, what up?
Yes, I think Jay's about to join.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
So I'll just go real quick. My name is Gonzalo G Silva Sound. I'm a DJ, producer, community organizer, and the other co-founder of Producers Edge. I work as a teaching artist, and through all this time, I've been busy teaching. So I think now more than ever, because I'm teaching technology, music production, DJing. So all these things have become more accessible to people, or not even more accessible, because that's a lie. A lot of our students don't even have access to internet or computers. So I think it's more of a realization that all this stuff is happening, and now people have to learn how to pivot. So I've been pivoting. That's what I've been doing. Moving everything online to from community, like community share outs like this, to teaching. So yeah, that, and spending a lot of time with my family, and I have a college student now. So seeing her, thank you, seeing her take this on, especially during this pandemic, has been something so inspiring, because feeling that I prepared her for this in a sense, but and her kind of like taking it on full force. So it's been a great journey. Yeah, thank you. And but yeah, and we're here. Dana J. I know he's moving around. He's over at Studio 18 in Orlando. Did you find a quiet
this is what's
space?
going on. I think so. There's a writer's camp going on right now, and there's like everybody here, and everyone's masked up, and we have the thermal gun. We're doing the right things. We're doing our thing. It's just a lot. But I'm Dana J. Okay, boom. My name's Dana J. I'm a musician, activist, producer, DJ, manager, organizer, director. Currently, I'm in Studio 18 in Winter Park, Florida, Orlando, Um, my, the owner, Connor Smith, great friend of mine, one of my best friends, my brother from Montclair, New Jersey. We went to Montclair High School together. That's the reason why I'm here. It's an amazing space, an amazing situation, and I'm really happy to be here at the moment. But we have plenty to talk about, unfortunately. And I think we got one of the greatest updates in a conversation to be had within the community with our brother, Mr. West. Because I don't know how many folks are seeing have seen the rally that happened out in, I believe, South Carolina. But I saw a variety of things from that. I saw a cry for help. I saw a lack of conscious and a lack of sense of reality. I saw the potential, side effects of some prescription drugs. I saw a lot of stuff from that. And with the pandemic that's happening, both pandemics, Corona and racism, with everything going on, it's tough to see somebody that a lot of folks see as an icon, a lot of folks see as like their greatest inspiration, even just outside of music, be in that space, in the same vein of saying that Harriet Tubman didn't free slaves, but helped get slaves to work for other white people. That's a paraphrase, it's not a verbatim quote. In that same breath, he had a breakdown talking about his father and how his father wasn't in the picture, and how, there's a lot to that. So I bring that up to ask the question and the questions of, how's everybody's mental health, and what has it been like for you, your friends, your family, your networks, your groups, balancing, processing what's going on right now? Because I think that that's a fair thing to try and make sense of. We're seeing stuff that has not been seen in any of our lifetimes. A lot of folks, or a lot of experts, say Corona is almost like a second coming, and then some of the Spanish flu, or the the Spanish flu. And this is apparently way greater than that statistically. There's literally never been anything like Corona. So it's almost like, why would we know how to maneuver in that space, seeing the immediate trigger of what's happening with it. And that only got further compounded by Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. The list goes on and on and on. It's a lot to take in, but I'll re-ask, how's everybody's mental health? And also maybe what are some things that you're seeing as examples or outcries, positively, negatively? Let's just talk about mental health for a second.
As far as I'm me and myself, I actually was getting counseling at It Takes a Family up in East Orange off of Evergreen, and my sessions were like once a week, and my counselor, she actually got transferred out into Camden, so I've kind of missed, maybe like a few weeks. But to answer your question, my mental health, I want to say my mental health is actually a little bit better, with the understanding what works for me. Here's the thing, like for me, it took me a while to try to understand, and we hear this all the time, and I've heard it all the time growing up, that media controls the narrative, and media has a way of turning us against each other by taking all of these different perspectives, all of these different opinions, and have us fighting each other and arguing each other. And I'm guilty, because since Trayvon, I went through a bunch of different emotions and a bunch of different spiritual things that I was dealing with. I left Christianity alone. I was on a God is not real kick for a minute, and I came back to understanding that, God is real. It's just the personal relationships that we have individually with the Most High. That's how I like to take it, as that, I'm 45, man, and you know, this goes back for me. It started with Amadou Diallo and, you know, Sean Bell, you know, out in the Bronx and everything. And I used to get real angry and you know, about it stuff. But recently, even with the George Floyd situation, it's effed up. It's on TV for everybody to see. It's provoking a lot of different emotions in a lot of different communities, you know. And one thing that helps me to try to cope is that in this, on our planet, in our universe, man, it's like it has to be over 1 billion people, and everybody cannot just be a person that just hates people. God, there are people out there that love genuinely. I have some great white friends, great Spanish friends. I have great Jewish friends. And sometimes I've been finding myself in a position to be more sensitive and be careful about how I push things out, especially on social media and in conversation, especially with like with this Nick Cannon situation, the comments that he made about, you know, the Jewish community. And it's like, you know, I believe like the approach was wrong. There was some truths that were there, but I think that it was just like everything is designed for us to just be against each other, yo. And it's like, that's what I'm trying to leave alone. I'm trying to like fuck with media in a whole different type of way, because if I allow myself to get caught up in propaganda and then, I mean, they feed this stuff to us every day, bro. You could go on Facebook, you could go on the news, wherever you go is like right there. So I've made it a personal decision of mine to not allow media to make me this angry black person that, I mean, in all the communities, like there's angry white people, there's angry Jewish people, there's angry, you know, Latinos. I just refuse to make me angry enough to just start attacking my brothers, because we, like, all of us work together. All of us are like in the same community. It's hard. I got into a little bit of a I even have to watch, and it makes me uncomfortable a little bit, but I even have to watch what I say about the LGBTQ community, because I have friends in the LGBTQ community. I don't agree with a lot of the things that the LGBT community pushes as far as narratives and everything, but at the end of the day, you know, I still have to try to learn how to respect, I guess that's the proper word, like I still have to learn how to respect opinions. I just don't like nothing that's force fed. You know, don't force anything down my throat. I guess in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is like, I'm just trying to rediscover love, because love is so humongous. It's such a big word, and it has so many different varieties within that one word. And that's what I'm trying to explore, and I'm trying to learn that. And that's what's helping me cope with my mental, you know, with my intellectual, you know, my emotions and everything. And I've been praying more, especially linking up with Godson Tony. Anybody who knows Tony, like, he's a spiritual dude. You can't help but, you know, be around him and not want to pray at least once a week or, you know, or do something positive in a good spirit for somebody. So I'm appreciative of the new energy that's coming in my life, especially in this group. Dana, I appreciate you. Me and Ego back, you know, Gonzalo, you know, I love you. Spencer, got love for you, you know what I mean? And that's what, it's my responsibility to keep that. It's an individual personal thing. It's my responsibility to keep that cultivated so I can connect with, you know, great people and great energy and have different perspectives of positivity and more solutions other than more criticism, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
For sure, man.
That.
Thank you so much.
We have somebody else joining us before we continue.
Yes, please.
Jai Yoko, are you available?
I'm here. Sorry, you guys. I was on the phone with my kid when he called. My name is Jai Yoko. You guys, I'm actually got introduced by Mr. Dana. Thank you. I'm a music consultant. I work also at Studio 18 with Dana, and have just been kind of getting on some of these calls because, I mean, this is life. You feel me? So what I've just been doing lately, and the way that I kind of got intertwined with this is from working in the music industry. I've been tapping in with a lot of just social justice stuff, from out in the streets protesting. So I've been feeding communities. I'm doing book bag drives. I'm bailing protesters out. It's kind of some of everything, but mostly trying to get people in the entertainment industry and who are leaders like myself to kind of transform our platforms from so much of just pushing music to trying to use ways to not only use our platforms and arts to kind of play total change, but just making people understand that, hey, we control the culture. You feel me? Like, art controls the culture. And if we as the people who create art can help skew the culture, if you would, then let's kind of use the platforms that we have for good. So I appreciate everybody on here. Again, I apologize for being late. I'm open to hearing some of everything. Like, this is how we grow. You feel me? For me, uncomfortable conversations are how we make change. So I'm here.
Much appreciated, Jay. You already know the vibes. It's a zoo over here right now. But I want to loop you back into what we were just going over. I was talking about the videos or the clips that have come out from Kanye, Brother West, out in South Carolina, pushing presidency, which is not necessarily a thing to be played with. I mean, granted, we have a wild example right now, but that's not a game to be played with. Politically, it translates to a lot. And also, he had a breakdown. He had a live breakdown on a very national platform. And we were talking about mental health. I asked everyone how their mental health is, and with examples like we're seeing from him. There was also this kind of, I'm still wanting to figure out what the deal was with this. I believe it was two activists, two Black females. I think it was in New York, in front of the Trump Tower. There was the Black Lives Matter painted on there a couple of weeks ago, and they poured black paint all over it and were making a scene. I don't know if that's as much of a mental health question as much as, potentially that could have just been a job opportunity, a gig, that could have been a bag. Or I know that there was like a religious element to it. One of the women was like screaming that this is all the devil, and that there was a lot of elements. I saw a couple different clips from it, but I don't know it, so I'm not going to act like I know the scope. But we're seeing a lot of public outcries from a lot of different people. I mean, I think this might be a curveball, but I think when we're seeing some examples of Karens, as they say, bugging out, I think that there are plenty of times, if not the majority of the time, where it's like clearly invested and seeded and developed feelings of anger and hatred, and for all of the ridiculous reasons that can be pulled up. But I think there's some instances where there's really just a lack of knowledge, a lack of information, and there could be just personal things going on where whoever's in front of them gets it. And with all of the other elements added on, that definitely factors in. But we're talking about mental health and the different examples of what we've seen so far. So wanted to get your take on that, if you may, Ms. Oko.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are crying out right now. You feel me? Like, it doesn't really matter, what race or background. Like, the world is goddamn crazy right now, bro. It's pandemics. It's, if somebody sneezes on you, you might die. You feel me? You got Karen, you got, this person. Like, it's just a lot to deal with right now. You feel me? And I just feel like it's overwhelming for everyone. And what I've been trying to do myself is kind of just step back and like analyze everybody's stuff. You feel me? Like, even when it comes to, Black Lives Matter, I'm sitting back like, yo, it's got to be a little overwhelming to be a white person right now. Because it's like, yo, you might not even feel, be on the racial side. But it's like, yo, everybody's coming at you like, you got white skin? You're against us. But it's like, you probably like, God damn, you feel me? Like, I didn't even know what happened. I just woke up today and everybody hated me type thing. So I feel like, a lot of the Asian community felt that as well when Corona first came up. You feel me? It was a quote unquote Chinese virus, which was horrible. But it's like, then the whole xenophobia thing, like, that's why people are overwhelmed right now. You feel me? Like, everybody getting gun forward in their own different lane. You feel me? And nobody is healing shit. It's like everything's being divided right now. You feel me? Like, you got this culture versus this culture, this wealth class versus this wealth class. Like, everybody's against each other right now. You feel me? And when you feel like, hell, 2020 feel like the world coming to an end. So it's like the world coming to an end and everybody hate each other. It's like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? What's next? You feel me? Like, so no wonder people are pouring paint and cutting hair off and screaming and crying and shit. Like, this is socially and sensory overload almost. You feel me? So, like, for me, everybody like, my God, take a step back, burn some sage, hit a J, and everybody just need to breathe real quick. You feel me? But I mean, it's a lot going on, so it can be understood. So I mean, me, like, I've suffered from mental health stuff. My counselor's on speed dial. I don't have no problem with it. I keep a tribe with me. You feel me? I keep healing crystals around me. I sage. Whatever got to be doing a combination of the two. You feel me? Like, you got to make it work. But I mean, it's a lot going on in the world. And I think finally people are realizing the effects that everything has on each other, from the media to social media to the government. People never realize just how much of an emotional effect the world has on you, whether or not you play a role in it or not. You feel me? Like, some type of way, it's gonna hurt. You got people that's dying left and right from a disease. You got people that's dying from people that's supposed to be protecting us. You got people who, don't know when they're gonna get their next meal because they can't go to work, on top of somebody in their family dying, on top of they scared of going outside because of the color of their skin. Like, that's a lot of shit to live with. You feel me? So, I mean, I think at this point, it's like, I'm trying to share as many resources as possible when it comes to mental health. You feel me? As many free resources and check-ins, and just trying to check in with folk just to make sure everybody is good. Because, I mean, it's just a lot going on in the world. You feel me? Like, whoever's not suffering right now, like, please give me whatever the hell you got going. Give me the recipe, bro, because we over here kind of losing it some days. So if anybody on here, is like, oh, I've been cool and copacetic the whole time, please holler at me and teach me your ways. You feel me? Because I'm the polar opposite.
That's real, Jay. There's some folks that I know that have always been Joe Cool, that are like, no matter what's going on, incredibly even keel, right? In the midst of ups, downs, life things, job, whatever. It's like, they are a wreck right now. Everyone, most, if not all of them, are like unhinged. Yes, Sienna, I see you.
Hey, no, I wanted to chime in about this mental health thing, and I'm not gonna brag and say that I have the recipe at all. However, when I started this conversation in my introduction, I mentioned that I've been thriving during quarantine. That I actually feel, quite honestly, the best that I've felt in a long time. So what's been different for me, though, is that I've made some decisions during quarantine. I think all the time before, I was allowing the indecisiveness of the world to affect my mental and take me off guard. Like, oh, wow, I can't believe it. How do they feel? And how do this and this? And this time inside gave me an opportunity to focus more inside of myself and really get the clarity that I've been looking for in terms of which way that I'm going to move personally. Now, I don't have every answer, of course, but in terms of like, where I stand on particular issues, or how I feel about how I'm affected or my people are affected by outside people's groups, organizations, all types of things. I'm very clear on where I stand in those things. And I'm very clear with what I'm focused on and whose side that I'm on. And there's nothing really else that has to be discussed. So for that, I find happiness and I find solace in the fact that I'm very resolute in what my focus is. So as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, worrying about how everybody else may feel in this situation, that doesn't mean that you don't feel like, you want people to feel well. And that should be your general like goal or mission in terms of your meditation or thoughts throughout the day, is that you want people to be their best and you want them to be well. But all of those small intricacies that they may be dealing with, you know what I'm saying? We each have a cross to bear, and mine is heavy enough. So you have to decide to focus on your inner self, so you can then be better for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it works. And I feel like that can be translated individually and then as a collective as well for Black folk. I think it's been evident that we have been under attack for generations now, upon generations. So this whole pandemic and people being, dying and or being impoverished or not having jobs or not having food or not having access to things or being told what to do or being put in lines or all of these types of things. This is like normal life for Black people, and then Black people and poor people, you know what I mean? So this is things that we do all the time. We deal with these types of things. So, again, I think that's why I'm able to thrive in it, because I'm thinking of it in that respect. Like, we've seen such worse times. When I'm running 3 miles, right? You know what I think about when I feel tired? I think about my ancestors that had to run for their lives with dogs. chasing after them, people being caught and captured. How dare I get tired? How dare I ever feel, are you kidding me? For real? I can't keep going, really? You ain't got a little bit more, for real, for real? So, I mean, my whole perspective has been pointed and directed. Sinning, the definition of sin is to miss the mark. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like I'm no longer missing the mark in terms of what it is that is important in my life and what I need to focus on for myself and my people. So that to me is the way to go. Whatever your idea is for your life and for your community, whatever that may be, however you want to break that down, focus on that specifically. Think great thoughts about it and don't worry about how anybody else on the outside is feeling about it or what they can do, because it doesn't matter. Every group, it's very interesting when we get into the Black conversation. All those groups that we feel so, you know, sad or guilty for because they may be going through something right now or feeling the brunt or of, you know, somebody saying something about white people or Jewish people or whatever other Latinos or LGBT, whatever. This is we are constantly under attack as Black folk, constantly. It never lets up, and it's specifically because we're this group. So, you know what I'm saying? It's important for us because we are attacked in that way. We must defend ourselves in that way. We have to come together and focus together, specifically as Black people, on what it is that we need to do. Everybody else, they've already done that. They're working for their communities, right? That's why they got businesses in our neighborhoods. That's why they come in our neighborhoods and buy up the block, because they're doing that work. We don't have time to worry about how they feel. That's what's up. If they want to, you know, give their time and their effort to assist them because they feel in their heart that they should and they owe it, then that's what's up. But they shouldn't do it in our communities. They need to do it in theirs. They need to talk to their own people about what they could be doing to help the people, to help the disenfranchised groups of people in the world. Don't keep coming to us and talking to us about what we can do. No, you talk about what y'all can do, and we need to talk together as a group of Black folk about what it is that we need to do specifically for our community. So when you have that idea in mind, you will not be straight, you will not be sad, you will not feel any type of disheartening, because the revolution is here. It's time to move forward, and that excites me. So that's why I'm preparing for this. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to be able, I might need to run a message somewhere someday. So I need to be able to do that. I'm just being honest. So thank you.
I don't know how to follow that. I'm jelly. I'm super jelly. I'm happy that you've got peace and balance right now. I'm a Libra, so probably balance will be a lifetime struggle, you know, but that's amazing. And I'm happy to hear that. And I'm happy for you. When you write a book and it's on Amazon or a PDF, you know, let me know. I'll support the business, you know. Watch all the sauce. Like, I need the sauce, the recipe. Oh, no, that's awesome.
Hocus pocus focus, and that's not even mine. Hocus pocus focus. I can't even claim that that's mine to quote. I get that from Abraham Hicks, but that's the 3 words: focus, focus, focus. You can make anything happen. You just focus on what it is that you want. You know is right. Because I mean, trust your heart. That's the thing. We have to trust our hearts. We have to trust our intentions. You know,
instincts and stuff. Yeah.
You know, that's a whole nother level of work that has to be done. And all this time inside, we had the opportunity. This was the opportunity. This was the 40 days and 40 nights. This was the by yourself solitude wish. This is what this was. You know what I'm saying? So it would have behooved us all to take that time. You know what I'm saying? It just would have. So
I'm with it.
We still there. We still got time. It's never too late.
I'm glad you're on the call. Really. But you know what it is? I mean, I'll keep it a green bean. The idea of mental health as a whole, for me, I'll you know, I can only speak for myself in most regards of anything, but the idea of mental health is something that I learned after I turned like 21. I want to say what it was and what it translated to. I've known my whole life. I've had emotions and things and had questions and tried to make sense of things, and gone down the roads of what if and if that and this, right? But the idea of mental health and it having the focus that it did and having the, you know, the way to be able to identify and recognize things and treat things, I only learned about that in my young adult life. And I saw something that was talking about the Kanye episode that I don't think most folks that are seeing that could factor in or begin to, you know, as a whole, it seems like people would say he hasn't been the same since his mother passed a couple of years ago. And he had the episode where he got checked into a mental hospital and was on lockdown. And in that space of lockdown, there was the potential and capacity for a lot of different things to happen, like electroshock and different prescriptions and different, you know, ways to help ease pain. That who knows really how much of a journey he's been on the prescription end and on just the life end of trying to find balance. Who knows if his brain works the same that it did when the trilogy dropped of, you know, late registration, graduate, you know, that the old Kanye, right?
Yo, if someone's pulling up now, where you think they should park?
I can check it in a second, bro.
Okay, cool. Yeah, do your thing. Hold on.
There's a lot going on. I'm sorry, but I saw that video that was having that breakdown, and it made me definitely look at that whole episode differently. You know, recognizing mental health and its importance and value, and we're seeing things about the upcoming sports getting restarted. The NBA starting up next week, I think the 30th. The NFL, baseball's getting ready to start, and there's a component in the quarantine that is being specified about making sure there's space and capacity for mental health, because it's a lot. People think that athletes can just go play their sport and they love it and that's all. Some folks are like that, but some folks, and I'd imagine most, if not all folks, need a space and a time to like process still what's going on actively. That's why they've got the custom jerseys. That's why they're doing all the, you know, they're putting Black Lives Matter on the courts and things in the fields. Like 2020 has been insane in every capacity of the word insane. It's redefining insane, but there's a lot of progression, or at least progressive steps happening. We'll see, I think, how temporary or permanent they are, and ultimately what policy change comes and what sort of laws and rules and regulations come from this. Otherwise, all of these things are nice gestures outside of that, you know. But I'm glad that mental health is getting such a focus professionally and getting acknowledged and the way it is. I think there's a direct tie-in definitely with mental health and like prescription drugs, right? Because you have to be able to get diagnosed, you have to be able to afford or have the insurance to have a therapist or go to a doctor or a clinic or a psychiatric evaluation, right? And then you have to be able to get the different drugs and the different, you know, ways that they diagnose it. It's a lot. And it starts, I think that an element of it starts there. But mental health is a heavy load. And it sucks, honestly, it sucks seeing that happen with Kanye West. And I'm hearing about the president run, and I don't know. I've done a lot of work on the political scope. So it's like literally impossible that works out. I think that for me, that's really just been, you know, hearsay. It's frustrating that I see every step going forward. It's really frustrating because of how impossible it is. But we're making sense of, I guess, the theatrics of what we're seeing with it. I know that while it's literally not possible, that campaign and that run is going to run for as long as it's going to run. And there's effects to that. There's effects to this literal election coming up. There's effects on how people can understand the basis of politics when Trump is already able to become literally the president. And the president at that setting is pretty disheartening for me. But yeah, I'm sorry I went off on a little bit of a run, but mental health is just, it's, the Kanye episode was like an amazing display of trials and tribulations and understanding what mental health is really all about.
Can I say something real quick? I'm sorry. I just think Kanye needs a campaign manager, for real, for real. I really think he just needs somebody to write speeches.
I could do that.
The man, he has a bunch of thoughts, but as you can tell, he's not, in terms of putting them together in a specific order, he's not good at that part of it, right? And as a politician, you kind of got to be good at that part of it. So you get help with writing speeches or saying things in an orderly fashion. I really feel like if Kanye was able to sit with somebody, if he would put his ego to the side for a moment and say, look, I need help with the words that I'm trying to say. Like, these are my ideas, but let's put it together in order. And he was able to say that in a stand-up type of way. I think that we would look at him differently. You know what I'm saying? And what I saw, I don't think of, I'm sorry, and this is probably wrong, and I know people will say this may be incorrect, but I do feel this way. Crying and being sad is not, to me, a sign of mental health, like a mental health problem. That's something that people do when you feel upset or sad about something. Like, I don't know if that's just a woman in my mind or whatever, but when I see a person that is about a situation, it's because they're sad about it, not because they're having a mental breakdown. It's because they need to release the emotion. And it bothers me that because a man is showing his emotion and saying, crying and talking about what he's talking about, he's just erratic. You know what I'm saying? He says one thing and the next minute he's crying. So in your mind, it's like, if he put it together and he eloquently cried at some point of that speech, but it put in order, we would be okay with it. I'm just saying, like, it's just order. It has to be organized chaos, as you say in a classroom, right? As a teacher, you want organized chaos. So to me, that's all that Kanye needs is a bit of wrangling in, and he really wouldn't be that bad off. It's just, you got to get somebody to put his stuff in order, because all of us have those manic episodes that he just did right there. I cry about my daddy not being there sometimes too. I've done it on live camera. You know what I'm saying? I have. And guess what? And then the next minute I could be talking about something, now I'm laughing again. So now I'm bipolar or something wrong with me? No, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's just, we not seeing a man do it. He just never organizes his thoughts. So that's what you're gonna get when somebody's talking all over the place. That's just the way I feel about Kanye. I don't really think he has back crazy as everybody making it seem. I just think he's just erratic, and he's a Gemini. That's that Gemini spirit. You gotta understand. That's Lauryn Hill. That's Tupac. That's Donald Trump. That's, you know what I'm saying?
It's polarizing. Yeah, it's like if there's a lot of gems in there. If we could get it lined up right, we could get it.
And they're so powerful because they have the capacity. They are great energy conductors. Like, they can bring in people for real, and that's his gift. He's able to. We see it. It's just like, he gotta just be organized. If somebody was like, Kanye, no, say word it like this, and he read it, my fellow Americans, then we'll be all right. I'm just saying.
I think that's real. Yo, Kanye to me is like our generation's Nina Simone. You feel me? Like, just completely misunderstood. You feel me? Like, I don't understand why a man talking about how his father didn't want him and he almost followed in the same foot. Like, how does that not get you emotional? To me, that's powerful as shit. You feel me? Like, this man just spilled his heart and said some real shit. You feel me? Like, again, to me, I hear people all the time like, this man crazy, this man. Kanye one of the smartest people I've ever known. I've been a Kanye fan since late registration first, before he even had that shit, when he was just producing for The Rock. You feel me? But it's because he's misunderstood. I love Kanye because he does what everybody doesn't want him to do. You feel me? Like, but even with this whole Trump thing, you feel me? And I might be going off topic, but I'm sorry, but I love you. You feel me? So, you know, seeing him and see this and watch people be like, oh, this man's crazy. It's like, did you not hear half of the stuff he said? You got to remember the media as well. The media is going to play that clip of him going crazy over and over. But they're not going to tell you everything that he talked about as far as how he wants to make sure that, you know, this people have money and we have reparations and we get people out of jail and we do. Nobody talking about that. You feel me? They all talking about he's just manic and he's crazy. You feel me? But why nobody talking about him making sure that we reform and getting rid of the 13th Amendment and all that? See, because that's the Kanye they don't want you to understand. Like they say they want to calm Ye, like he just said, you feel me? So like his delivery might be off, but what we as people have to do is sit back and realize, like, even though their delivery is not off, understand people's message. You feel me? Because we miss so much on, oh, the delivery is wrong. That's how we miss out on so many great people, because we think, oh, it's about their delivery. Well, try to digest it and understand maybe why he delivers this way. You feel me? Okay, right. Even if he is bipolar or manic, he's still a genius. You feel me? Like they said Einstein was a fucking manic, you feel me? But he's written in every history book in the world. You feel me? So I think we got to take time to sit back and don't worry about the delivery, but dissect what's really being said and take it in. And take it away and don't take what somebody did in the past. Oh, well, you know, Kanye, he was in a mental hospital before, so you know, he must be off. Bro, we have a man who ran on The Apprentice as the president of the world, right? You're like, you feel me? This man was once telling people, you're fired. So now he's running America like, you're fired. But ain't nothing wrong with him, but Kanye tripping. They about the same. They both misunderstood, you feel me? So when they sat down at the table with each other, they like, oh, Kanye part of this. Kanye sat in the White House and looked at that man with all the media around and said, so what you gonna do about police reform? You ain't, all of a sudden, all these people just started getting free. You feel me? Like, oh, this person out, this person out, this person out. These people ain't just get free because it happened. It took time for shit to happen. It took that conversation that Kanye had with him to make this happen. And then it took his wife to bring her, platform. Oh, she's being a lawyer. She knew what she was doing. She used her platform to spread the word. And the people behind the scene might not have got the limelight. But guess what? These people are out of jail. You feel me? So this so misunderstood person, this so manic person has the power to for real change the world, but we sleeping on them. You feel me? We gotta stop doing it as to everybody. You feel me? We're gonna miss out on gems thinking that somebody is crazy. He not crazy. We the crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it really is. It's polar opposite. So like we gotta get away from that, man.
I mean, but how much of it do you guys feel is a serious run for the office? Or
how long has Kanye been saying he wanted to run for office?
So that's what I'm saying. So if that's what it is, then like how Dana J said, he would have had his ducks in order to prepare for that. And
I think the thing is part of his preparation. 2024, he's going to run. I think this is all a part of his. Let me start getting shit together now. You feel me? Oh, they think he's going to skew the verse. He's not going to skew it. He's going to drop right at the end. He's going to say, you know what? Do what you think is best for you. 2024, he's going to come back. He already got people attention. You feel me? Like, you got to think. He in the media as well. So everything is played out. Y'all think that man cried? You think he just cried because he wanted to last night? He probably was playing. You feel me? Like, you got to think. When geniuses don't think like regular people, you feel me? They think ahead. He's been ahead of his time for a time. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Ye fan. I said the same thing with Nina Simone. And they said, what? She was insane. She was crazy. Look at Lauryn Hill. Look at Britney Spears. Britney Spears cut all her hair. Oh, she's fucking crazy. She lost her. Britney knew what she was doing. Britney cut her hair off and 2 years later made $168 million. You feel me? So these people know what they doing. It's different. You feel me? It's different. So we think it's wrong. It's not wrong. It's just a different route. So you got to sit back and just understand some shit and digest and think on the outside. You feel me? Like, this man has the money to do it. You got Elon that's backing him. You feel me? Like, it's certain. You gotta think. You just gotta think outside the box. And now the media is trying to directly show you. Okay, if the media is trying to show me that this man is insane, then what is he really? You feel me? You just gotta flip shit, man.
I think a lot of it is also because of public scrutiny that you're being put into some sort of limelight, and some of that I personally don't buy into celebrityism. I appreciate people for their genius, for their work, for their music, for their what they got to say, and I agree with you too, Jay, as far as like kind of, I guess you're saying kind of read between the lines or seeing what else is being said, but in the type of platform, and that's the thing, things are changing right now so much because of everything that's going on. So even the way that we communicate with each other is changing. And the way that we push our own narratives change also, right? Because now we have this social media to be able to just zoom it out to the world and see what everybody thinks, and then get scrutinized by just having a thought. But the same thing that Sienna was talking about was probably have somebody as a writer, somebody who's going to be able to put those thoughts together to make it. But so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I've seen things happen over and over with celebrities, and what it tends to be, it's usually some sort of way to kind of drop the latest album or latest whatever, and that might be also part of the plan, but it falls short when it becomes another way to market yourself, as opposed to like, yo, here's a bigger message, here's what we're trying to fight for, and let's do that. But all these smaller messages kind of like deter you from that sometimes. That's how I'm feeling.
And I just want to mention that I like what Jay said about people are judging, like, especially celebrities about being different. And I would like to see how many regular people, like if they went into a level of celebrity, like at a Kanye level, could keep it together, because the pressure is crazy at that level. And how many celebrities, especially like music heads, like, because okay, like a movie actor, at least they're like behind the camera and they just do their thing, and then they could be at the premiere, but like the musical artists go out there, travel the world from millions of people, and like have to perform as good as possible every single time. And Kanye was one of those. And like there's artists since back in the day, I don't know, like especially like since like the 60s, where artists have gone in so many directions based on their reaction to all this pressure and all this. There's a lot of drama, there's not enough sleep, there's like people hunting you down, man. You're getting stalked, you're getting, you know, so I can't blame you know, like Britney Spears and Kanye and so many others for what they're experiencing. And maybe if for them it's like it's like liberating to finally let it free, like in public, whether they mean to or not. And I guarantee like some manager was like, just go crazy. You know, it'll like boost your image, but it was really who they were. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to doubt what Gonzalo's saying, that sometimes it's a tactic, but I still think that the pressures are real. The pressures are serious. And even Trump right now, Trump is trying to keep his thing together because he's saying one thing and something else is happening and people are coming after him from all directions, and he's on Twitter and he's on like, you know, the nightly news, and he's on CNN and he's on Fox, and he's in the like he's seeing stuff about him. He's seeing himself every moment of every day, and I can't imagine what that feels like for anybody. And that was what Obama went through too. Like Obama kept it together, and like I'm really, really proud of that man for keeping it together, because so half the world was going after, or half America was going after him. And it was and it's sort of the same, like two very different people. And I'm not giving a political thing. I'm you know, like I'm just saying that anybody who's in that level of limelight is gonna be dealing with some demons right now, especially.
For sure.
Yeah. So just, I don't know.
I want to spend as minimal time talking about the Cheeto as possible. Keep it a green bean with you. I do, and I'm the host. But
you know,
in the midst of go ahead.
Cheeto. Sorry, I just wanted to add too that there is a level of you know, craziness. Remember, Ronald Reagan was an actor. You know what I mean? And I feel that, like, look, as long as you like, if it's something you're pushing a positive narrative, I can't even use the word positive, but like, as long as you're trying for the people, I guess. Like, as long as you're trying for people, even with Trump, there's different perspectives with him. You know, I'm not feeling homeboy too tough. But then again, like I said, Ronald Reagan was an actor at one point, and then he, you know, we all know that Ronald Reagan pushed, you know, crack cocaine, like was kind of behind that thing, and the crack era and all of that.
Right.
And if Kanye is going to be our, you know, like I would joke about this all the time. Fucking Elmo could be the president at this point, you know, as far as I'm concerned. You know, if you could just, if the people, it's about the people, man. They talk a good game to get the people to vote. It's all a charade at the end of the day to get people to get on to their way and to get people to vote for them. And then once they get it, we different. You know what I'm saying? Like I was with Obama, you know. Let's be honest about it. Obama was in there. Obama did a lot for a lot of communities. He didn't do anything for the black community. You know what I mean? Like, really. So, you know, it's just whatever. I hope his intentions are pure. Most geniuses are off their rocker. Most people that make great music are off their rocker, you know, in some way, form, or fashion. You know,
right?
But as long as you know, it's going to be interesting. That's all I can say. It's going to be very interesting. No.
Yeah. In the midst of everything with Kanye, right? In the midst of the presidential run, and I have a stance on that I don't want to get to, but in the midst of all of these things, there's definitely a Kanye album coming out. It's called God's Country. It's already like news. You know what I mean? Like no one's even like, we forget in the midst of, oh my God, about to be an album out. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of folks felt ways about his last one. I thought there were some selections on there that were some bops. There were some bops on that album there. But I think it's a dangerous game to play for promo's sake when you're talking about running for president in an election year, when clearly there's political divide, if not ideological divide, when the results came together how they did 4 years ago, because I think a lot of folks were surprised, maybe not as many as we know, maybe more folks anticipated the Cheeto to get that than we know. Maybe that was the plan all along. I don't know, theories, but for me, that's not a game you play this year at this time or with the climate. Who knows come November, hopefully it helps the Biden. I think that it hurts Biden more than helps, honestly, because I don't know, but I think there's confusion for young people and people that aren't.
I'm sorry, Dana, but
Go
do
ahead.
you really care about this election for real? Like, I'm just saying it because let me just.
No problem.
SonSu was saying earlier, right? Or no, I think it was Jay rather said that he's gonna run in 2024, right? For me, I'm not even considering 2020. This is a joke. This is not real. Y'all have to understand it's already planned. This is done. Like, whoever is winning for 2020 is already done. Like, what's going on with Trump and Biden? Like, how in the hell everybody just dropped out and the only option that we have now is Biden? Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, yeah.
I think that's what Kanye doing though. Like, I think Kanye is trying to get people to understand that, like,
Biden is just as incompetent as Trump. He just looks better in a package. I'm just being honest. He just looks like a politician. You know what I'm saying? So he looks
package.
But he's incompetent as hell. And that's the lesser of two evils BS that they're giving us again. So 2020 is already decided, just like 2016 was already decided. Just like you said. Remember, we had back-to-back of the first Black president, a Democrat. It wasn't no way in hell the next president was about to be a woman and a Democrat. Again, this checks and balances. No matter what we want to try to pretend like our votes do on whatever level, there's checks and balances. Ain't no way in hell that we about to have all Democrats and women right after 2 terms of a first Black president and a Democrat. Nah. Of course, Trump, no matter if it was Trump or whoever as the Republican, as soon as I knew Trump was the runner, he was going to be the winner because it was automatically going to be a Republican president. Of course. There's no other way around it. They had to do checks and balances. So, so now this is all, once again, set up as it's been, you know what I'm saying, for generation upon generation. We don't have any control and say in this at all. We don't even have a horse, a dog in a fight, a horse in a race. Y'all must remember that. Not Black folk. I don't know about everybody else in here, who you are and what you run with, but I'm saying for me, Black folk don't have a horse in the race. We ain't got a dog in the fight either way, and we never have. So 2024 needs to be our goal of finding a candidate that we trust and that we feel like is going to go along with what it is that we need as Americans in the country, because we don't do that. We let them come to us and pander, right? And tap dance and take out hot sauce and all types of silliness, right? And say, what do you have to lose? That's what we allow them to do. You know what I'm saying? Call us super predators, but we still vote for them. Like, we allow them to do those types of things. But yet it's still, we don't present anybody. So that's the problem. It's self-determination and confidence for Black folk. Specifically, I can only speak about what we got to do. I can't speak about the other people in the world, because y'all got different circumstances, situations than we do. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have different access, you got different privileges, you have different all type of stuff. Life is different for other people. For us, we need a candidate, a real candidate.
I do want to say, sorry, Sienna, I do want to say Biden is meeting with all these incredible Black politicians, female Black politicians, and he's looking to have a Black woman as his vice president.
Because it looked good though, bro. Not because it's actually going.
But but here's what I think. I think that what he will do is, he is tired, he is old, and he's gonna give a lot of power to that vice president that's what I see happening. If he wins and he has he's gonna have a vice president who's a lot younger and most likely of color and maybe a woman, and that's gonna be that's the best thing about Biden is that, in terms of Trump doesn't care about his vice president. He wants all the power and he's firing everyone who says anything against him. But Biden's going to let his people around him make a lot of choices. And that's what's not happening with Trump. Trump says, you know, this doesn't sound good to me. You're fired. Get out of here. And I think that that's causing a lot of this sort of feeling of like we're in a dictatorship at times, which is a little scary. But I think that that's not going to happen with Biden. So that's like the one positive. But I hear you, and you're absolutely right.
The Democrats have not been on our side either. You have to remember they're not always for us either. They give stuff to everybody else except for us. We've been trying to get reparations on a panel for I don't know how many years, and nobody can get that through. The Democrats are not for Black folks either. So once again, like I said from the beginning, this is the lesser of two evils that they keep giving us these options to, or rather, we keep allowing them to give us options to. We have a right as people, all peoples do, to present another option or another way. And that's just what I suggest Black folks to think about is another way, because the Democrats and the Republicans and everybody in between has not done anything right by Black folk, generally speaking. We consider our culture and our community and where we are and how they still put us down and murder us in the streets. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and that's what's up. I think it'll look nice, and that's great for the country because it looks pretty again. If we got a nice looking Black girl up there doing something, that's what's up. But ultimately, we're still going to be in the same position that we've been in until we take some sort of stance and decide who we want to be in office, or we run things in a different way. But I understand where you're coming from. That will look good for the country.
But I mean, it's only gonna look good though. You feel me? And it's only gonna look good so you can get the votes. You feel me? Like, so it's you using a Black woman and hoping that you're gonna put that person in power. But once we go to these polls and these Black people vote for that person that hopefully that Black woman's behind type shit, like it's all a pawn. You feel me? It's all a pawn. We done seen this multiple times with different people who are running. You feel me? Oh, let me put somebody Black in my campaign, or somebody of color, or somebody of minority, or a woman, or this or that, so I can get that group to vote. You feel me? That was part of what Ye was trying to tell people. Like, listen, Biden came out here and told Black people on somebody, pretty much, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't Black. How dare you? You feel me? That was the whole reason that Aunt Kanye for coming out, because he like, how y'all gonna listen to somebody who want to run y'all country, who gonna say y'all not Black if you don't vote for him? That's why you need to stand up for you. That's what I think the cause of Kanye is to wake people up and let them know, bro, ain't nobody for us. And I say us as Black people, and I say us as people overall. You feel me? Like, we shouldn't have nobody ruling us. I'm grown as shit. Why are they ruling us? Why are they ruling what we do? Why can't we take care of ourselves? So I think that's his whole purpose, is to wake people up. You feel me? That whole lesser of a different devil, that's bull. You feel me? You're still settling for somebody who's going to make you be underneath of them. You feel me? So that's the whole thing that we have to wake up and realize, like, why do we have presidents? Why? For what? I'm grown, bro. I can pay my own bills. I can pay my own credit card. I can put gas in my car. What do I need this person for? What do I need these people dictating for? You feel me? So, like, when you get to that point, you got to realize that politics is a ploy. You feel me? And it plays on your psychological. You feel me? So it looks like Biden is for the people because he put a Black woman in. Y'all don't remember Condoleezza Rice? Another Black woman who got put in. But guess what? One, that Black woman didn't help us. They were against. You feel me? So yes, this Black woman might come in and be with Biden, but is she really going to help us? You feel me? Then another thing is that we always think that when that president comes in, they're going to help our people. They're also just a pawn for a bigger picture. You feel me? Like, I don't know how many times I heard, like, oh, Obama ain't do nothing for Black people. Bro, he can't save the world. He has to do what everybody else tell him to do. He's just a representative. You feel me? Like, so I'm just going to be the face of the crew, pretty much. That's what the president is. So these people are not here for us, for real. They're here for their own, you know what I'm saying, their own personal agenda with, you know, the 1%, if you would, type thing. So us as the 99% need to start realizing, like, my God, there's nobody for us. Who is really for us is the citizens, you feel me? Because it's really the citizens versus them. It's not Black versus white. It's not man versus woman. It's not old versus young. It's not rich versus poor. It's them versus us, you feel me? And because all this political stuff is going on, we never realized that. We never realized that. And that's what the whole Kanye coming out is, to make you realize, like, my guy, nobody's for us. So now what we gonna do?
Yeah, let me bring up real quick. We got a comment on YouTube from Scarlett Melendez. What's up, Scarlett? What we vote doesn't matter if we only vote at a national vote, because that just falls on the electoral college. Right. We have to be conscious of all of the positions we can vote for, starting with our local. Word. I hear that. That's Scarlett. She's talking about the electoral college, which is that our vote doesn't even count in the end, which is why actually Trump got less of the popular vote than Hillary, and he won anyway. So that's another whole rabbit hole to go down. But yeah, the local votes are I voted in the mail. I hope other people did. I hope that my mail vote in the mail got to where it's supposed to go. That's another thing. We're definitely in a situation right now, like this democracy is feeling a little stifled. But I'm doing everything I can. Doing everything I can to make even a little difference. I like that the ripple. I can only make a ripple where I am right now and hope that it goes out. So thank you, Scarlett. That was dope. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, I agree with 99.9. I'm scared to say 100 only because I'm worried I might have missed something, but I agree with like everything that you said, Scarlett, about Sienna, about it all being a charade. You know, like I've spent time in politics. I've definitely felt more of a direct impact of what's going on when I've worked on local races and like house districts and like more immediate stuff that you can literally go to a couple of communities of suburbia and little rows and you get these 300 and these like those small races where literally every vote counts, and the policies that they're talking about, the budget cuts to this. And I've seen it in that space where there's somebody running for an office in a city that they don't live in or have never been in, that have agendas to privatize and bring things to monies in this way because that's where they're at. Like the issues from politics and the build of it, the foundation, the fundamentals of it are rooted in direct connect with people and working to have policy change. There's certain elements of, you know, a phrase that we've often heard is power to the people, and it gets lost in the sauce of talking about organizing and protesting, right? Protests seem like they're, I don't know, and I don't know if that's still a thing, if it's happening. It's definitely calmed down universally. Weather's getting nicer. I don't know. Stuff's starting to get open. I don't know. I don't know of an era of a movement that changed anything with people being outside for a couple weeks or a month. It takes many months and years, right? So I don't want anybody to forget that in the midst of thinking that stuff's gonna just get better because it's hot and now I want to, you know, go chill or I can finally go to my favorite bar. If you really want to be outside to advocate for change, you really got to be outside to advocate for change. But I want to echo what Scarlett said. While the presidential is all sorts of gains and predetermined potentially already till 2024, if not further ahead, the immediate impact of organizing within your community about causes that you care about and things that directly impact your family, your friends, your network, your block, your neighbors, those are impactful races to be involved in. And people often say when you vote straight down the ballot. That's not always in your best interest. And it's worthwhile to become educated on it. I want to go back to what we were talking about with Ye and the mental health, like, and getting lost in the messaging. I think it's an indication that we don't have as much patience as we think we do as a whole. And we are selective with our patience and how we choose to want to figure stuff out and take the time. You know, we are processing and taking the time to learn every day about COVID-19, about, you know, I think with every injustice that happens, like how there hasn't been a single update, I feel like, about Breonna Taylor. With every step of what happens when you learn about the cases and then the trial and then the charge getting updated with George Floyd, we're learning about elements of the legal process that help us make sense of the seriousness of how indebted and in-webbed a lot of this stuff is. Like systematic oppression and police brutality and the numbers and the schematics. There's levels to every part of this that we see one part and we're just happy and we think that it's kumbaya and like, okay, no, everything's like, there's real work to do, and there's real impact that people can have by going out and like a lot of, we'll talk about defund the police. There's a lot of things that people can vote on that impact that stuff. You could take the time to learn about that. And if it's something that you really care about and you really want to make the impact, we got to reverse engineer. We want to see our end goal and work to figure out the steps toward getting that. If we're going to keep it honest, I don't know if a unified Black agenda exists. I've seen a lot of different iterations, right? Who knows how long that would take? And that's something that as a bargaining chip, if we're going to sit down at a table and talk about, look, this is what we're looking to do, we has to embody truly we need to get on the same page. Maybe it starts in your city and then your state and then your region and then nationwide. Organizing has to happen. Otherwise, we're shouting for things and we're advocating for things that there is no plan to. Again, I've seen a bunch of iterations. If we can vote on one, can we have like a vote and just...
Let me say this again. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Y'all have to remember that, right? And we are in the process as a people of moving our movement forward, if that makes any sense. I feel like we've brought Black more than we've ever brought Black in the last 6 months to a year. I must say, I can speak for myself that I have definitely, I don't know what everybody Black is doing, but that's what I've been doing on purpose. And it's important for me to continue to do that and to seek those establishments out for purpose. I think that we're working towards things. The conversation of reparations is something that is a consistent conversation now. It was not before. It's something that we're gonna have to continue to build upon and keep talking about and keep putting out there. But yes, that's something else. You know what I'm saying? Black maternal death rate is a major conversation that we've been talking about and we've really been trying to confront. So now we have a whole community of Black mothers that are home having babies, doulas, midwives, all of this. We've created a whole nother community and which is establishing and fostering this idea of the Black family again. You know what I'm saying? Like we're working, we are. You know what I'm saying? Let's not forget what we are doing. It's not like, here's the thing. Who's gonna look at it if I put out tomorrow, hear ye, this is what Black people gotta do. You gonna pay attention to it and do it? Because it's been a lot of people that's been posting stuff saying, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. Are we all following it? You gotta just pick one that you like to do, that you think you connect with and follow that. There's not gonna ever be no one major plan. And when there was Martin, it was Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like that. There's not gonna be one plan that everybody always agrees on and all Black people know it won't be that. You know what I'm saying? But certain things we need to have an agreement about. Reparations is one of them. If you don't agree, just shut up. That's how I say to Black people all the time. If you don't agree, just be quiet. Let everybody else get what they deserve. Give your check away, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's that.
My guy Tom Steyer was for reparations, but he didn't make it.
Yeah.
We have to agree with our own personal, I feel like our own personal autonomous zone. We do. It's time for Black folks to have their 40 acres in a mule. We need our own space to grow our communities in which the way that we feel is necessary without any other outside influence on purpose. So we can build the trust that we need to build within our own communities to uplift each other and truly pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. That is how we'll be able to do that. Right now, they keep putting us in these communities where people are coming in and stealing our goddamn boots. So let's have a space where we have the boots and the laces, and I can guarantee we'll march all up and through this bitch. I'm just telling you, this is how we are. We can do this. We just need the space and opportunity. But we have to be on, it doesn't matter how you think we should do it. We just got to be on one accord about certain things. And that's one, those two things, definitely our own space. We need autonomous zones for Black folks. It's imperative that we have it. I'm saying Trump actually did something about HBCUs recently that we have to get our people to commit to HBCUs. It's important. It's so important. You know what I'm saying? And then definitely reparations. So just keep hope alive.
Cash reparations at that, like actual dollar signs, and not the ones where they want to, put the money back in Black communities type shit. Like the money.
all of it, because you know that we are deserving of it. You know what I'm saying? Automatically. And we'll have to take some of that property as well. That's another part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's really where they're going to understand that this is really important to us, is when we start to take things, because ours anyway. Just remember that, Black folks.
What you said earlier was powerful, Sienna. Like, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I'm not being negative, but you know, the reality of it since the 60s, man. Like, you could go to Hoover, J. Edgar Hoover. We've existed through all of these different decades, and shit's still been the same for us. We still get killed, we still this, we still that. Sis was saying earlier, I hope I wasn't misunderstood about, you know, Obama doing something for us. I know he couldn't really do anything for us, but it was just amazing on his watch how many of the, you know, deaths by police that Black people, that shit was like, it was just ridiculous. That it made you think, it gave you the illusion that why he can't do shit about it. I said all that to say, yeah, it's like I feel the same way. I don't give a shit who becomes president. It's like it probably more than likely will still be the same for us no matter what. I think individually, as individually, we all could exercise our greatness. I'm big on, you know, me. I've dealt with homelessness and stuff like that, so I'm big on just giving back. You know, I'm big on that's how my presidency shit is. I feel like I'm the president when I'm just giving a nigga a sandwich and a bottle of water down at Penn Station. Like that's God to me. And I kind of just leave alone the big people shit until I get up into that upper echelon. A lot of us, we don't know what that's like, that level of success. Will, Jada, Kanye, you name it. Like, we don't know what that tastes like. We see it. You know what I mean? But who knows what those people have to go through and what they deal with to maintain the shit that they got to deal with. We're dealing with the shit that's like by us in our communities, you know, right here. And I think that's the beginning. That's the start. And basically, what I'm saying is that that's where I found my peace and I found my happiness, just by trying to contribute to my community any way, form, shape, or fashion that I can. Us as DJs and musicians and the stuff that we do with music, we're fucking healing, because music is a healing element. You know what I mean? That's healing in itself. You know, it'll be dope if Kanye could come out with a fucking healing album. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that would happen, but it'll be dope if he could come out with an album that could bring people together and we could all just try to be on one accord. Other than that, you know, it's, to me, it'll just be the same shit. You know, it'll be the same promotions of I don't know whether you want to say the lesser evils or whoever get in there, because they all kind of do the same shit once they get in there. You know, I mean, shit, if Condoleezza Rice became the president, there's no telling if she would, you know, try to make a dent in major issues that from her own community. But like I said, to end this, what I said is just like, yo, we got to find our own peace and our own heroism within our community by giving or trying to help or just encouraging our people. Because back to mental health, you know, it really is real. And if I could contribute by playing some fucking 60s music and watching everybody dance, you know, we did. I was a part of the you know, the All Lives Matter painting on the ground situation with, you know, Marcy and them. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I know what it's about. I know that, you know, it's us first. But just to have everybody come together and everybody just let their head out for a second. We all out there trying to do something positive together on one accord. The shit felt kind of good. You know what I mean? It felt kind of good for that moment. It felt kind of good. And that's what we need more of. If COVID-19 didn't teach me nothing else, it's like shit, coming together and just watching people live and breathe and trying to figure shit out together as a collective, and all this new wave of, this is the new way of life now, Zoom and shit, and doing stuff online and getting your platform together and having podcasts and having all these different things, you know, it's the new way of doing shit. And, you know, that's just me personally. I'm really trying to find my peace and trying to help, you know, the Jesus stuff, and just try to do the Jesus thing, like just help, feed somebody, direct somebody, give information to somebody, you know, our kids, our babies. I'm more and more trying to figure out what I could do with kids. You know what I mean? young kids that want to get into film, young kids that want to get into music, young kids that want to get into DJing and everything. And hopefully they will be the masterminds of, the seeds. We plant the seeds, right? We plant the seeds, or God plants the seeds. Someone waters it, and God gives the increase. I just want to be a seed planter at this point. A seed planter.
That's almost the greatest segue ever into doing things with us at Producers Edge, SonSu Monk. Yeah, we'd love to talk to you about helping with a class, a workshop, a curriculum. More Sienna, please. I think we'd love to have you involved as well if you got the time. It sounds like your schedule's pretty packed. I don't know if you can fit us in. For the community.
Can I add something real quick?
Of course, Jay.
So I think one of the things that you were touching on, SonSu, is something that I realized basically in 2016 when Trump was about to get into office, and I was traveling, going from like here to Far Rockaway, 2.5 hours on the train, and seeing not just like, parts of New York that I've never been to before, and kind of just sitting inside of a subway and seeing all different types of people coming in and out and having conversations out loud, how important it was to have a tight-knit community. Even though I was traveling 2.5 hours to go teach, it really meant something to me that in this safe space, in this community center, they had these group of students come in and do different activities. And one of the things that I was able to offer through building beats was teaching them music and DJing and stuff. And it was something that I wish I had early on, and I was always more than happy to share what I learned, and especially I feel like it's also about like giving people sort of like the cheat code in a sense, where like it took me, I've been DJing since I was 9, so it took me this many years to figure out certain things. Like I was doing things sometimes totally wrong, and you know what I'm saying, I had to learn years later that this is the proper way to do it. And then from that, I can just teach somebody. And one of the things that I'm seeing as a blessing now from doing it for this long is that seeing my students grow up and go beyond whatever I taught them. Like they use my tools, but they're like taking it to other levels. Like how I mentioned Sienna earlier. Like I love that. Like this has all been part of Sienna, which since I've known her. So I didn't add anything onto it. The only thing I ever added onto was the ability to scratch and to mix records from here. You know what I'm saying? But everything else is all her. You know what I'm saying? So if I can give that out to my community, I feel like I feel blessed.
It died, babe. It died.
Uh-oh.
It died.
It died.
Just to add on to the conversation, what SonSu said, and then Gonzalo, myself also being a mentor and educator. And even myself, being a Caucasian, Jewish brother, but finding myself within the urban, inner city areas, dealing with, various populations. And then, I got a new job in which now I'm also working in the white populations also. So, one thing that I, kind of pride myself in is being a very adaptable human, understanding my place, but giving, like when I'm in, at the Hip Hop Institute, right? The way that whole kind of thing was running. Now COVID changed it. But, Tuesdays, the Lyric Lab, Lyricism 101, just teaching young kids that their voice actually matters, and, how to use a microphone, and that you could actually record something and do, then, Wednesdays, audio, 101, making beats. But more so recently, what I've really been, educating myself on, my slogan is teaching while I'm still learning, right? So I'm always trying to better myself first, because real change has to come from within. So I'm always trying to educate myself, because, like an analogy, if you don't have enough water in your own cup, how are you supposed to pour water into other people's cups, right? You first have to do, lead by example and do that change from within before you could help anybody. So, now that I'm educating myself, like for instance, this whole pandemic, I really been educating myself on stocks and the stock market. And, I feel like that those are those are financial changes that people can bring into their own life, instead of just getting a check and just spending it, on things you don't really need, learning how to invest, whether it's into the market or into yourself, so I think just, kind of leading by example and really, showing people like, I'm comfortable with even like, look, I'll show you, like, this was, 4 months ago, I put this in and now it's that. You know, because there's just so many different avenues. And, you know, me, myself, like, even though I'm a writer, like, you got to understand that that's not everybody's interest or skill. So just me trying to be a versatile human, but saying, you know, I bring all these different things to the table. And now you bring those different resources of education and you bring it to a community of people who may not have that knowledge available. And now they could take that and really thrive. Last point that I really wanted to make, and this is maybe, I don't know if some of you, I don't know, this is just kind of, I thought about this the other day, just on the, you know, real change has to come from within. I think we need to look at of course, there's systemic racism, which has been around in this country forever. But I think, you know, looking at one issue at a time, when we're looking at the George Floyd and, you know, so many names before him, and we're looking at police brutality, you know, I forget who had mentioned it, but with like, why was there so many police brutality and killings even under the Obama administration? Like, I think when change comes from within, like, just an idea, maybe like, you know, trying to get people from the community, leaders, in becoming officers and doing the jobs themselves. I know that it's not really an admired profession these days. And, you know, we just have a certain outlook on officers. I don't have, you know, personally speaking, I don't have any family members who are officers or really any close friends. But as I'm thinking, it's just like, it has to be a conversation and it has to be the right people leading the way doing this position so we could have a better outlook of this conversation. Because one thing I always try to do is, you know, put myself in all the other people's shoes. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way that you can create change. I know that I myself am not an African-American brother, but at the same time, you know, I'm very empathetic and I see myself as a human being first. So I see the struggles in other cultures and communities. And even though I haven't experienced it myself, I could hear their stories and really just take the time to understand. So I think we need to try to do that on all levels. And again, I think those changes just have to come from within, whether it's conversation or take it. If the police ain't gonna do the job right, even though I don't really want to be an officer, I may have to buckle up and show how it's done. I don't know. That may be a crazy way to think about things, but it's an alternative, because the way things have been going for so many years hasn't cured the answer yet. So, you know, I'm a teacher and a creative, so I'm not saying necessarily I would like to be an officer, but that's just an alternative idea, because I don't know, a lot of the things we're seeing has not worked. So that's my piece.
It's not so far-fetched. Think about what's happening in Seattle and Portland and stuff. What you're saying is what the people are supposed to do. I like, that's the part, like, whatever part anybody can play is the one that you're supposed to play. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like injustice or whatever that is to you is wrong, then there's ways for you, and however you're going to do it, to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that you can do, and that's all that you're supposed to do, and vice versa. Like, that's it. So, like, what they're doing, to me, Seattle, all of that, that's what we have to take a look at and be like, okay, you know what I mean? What are they doing? How did they do this? What's the organization plan? Like, and those are predominantly white people out there. You know what I'm saying? That's not no black people doing that out there. That's a bunch of white folks. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting, you know what I'm saying? But we have to model after those type of situations because of what you said. We've allowed the police and the government to run amok in our communities. You know what I'm saying? In our communities where we keep saying we need to vote local and that's going to change everything. But then this systemic oppression, which is also rooted in our government, like, seeps into our local level stuff as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's happening on the local level, and then they're at the local level, the police, you know what I mean? Even though it's part of the government. So it's like, you know what I mean? This is the thing. It's kind of like fighting both. You don't mean to, and you maybe don't want to, or don't feel like you can, or you should, or you have to, but you do. You know what I'm saying? And what you said is the right thing. Maybe you don't want to be a police officer, but I know you personally, so I would trust you as a person that patrols my neighborhood because I know you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the point. That's the difference.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like, I know you. I ain't gonna say I feel like that about any random white man, though, but I know you.
Right.
I know,
Right.
you know.
That also says something about police officers, where they're in these communities for years and years and years, and we only know them as like, damn, you know, they pull you over, they give you a ticket, they might F with you, especially if you have dark skin, and that is all they are for years to in some communities.
That was a conversation that I seen, and I'm sorry that was a conversation I seen recently about how a lot of police officers don't live inside the communities. So all the money that they're getting, that the taxpayers are paying, are going to other communities where they're paying taxes and getting benefits, and you know, it's not a fair system. And
right.
even the idea of defunding the police, you know, people think it's like, oh yeah, no police officers, lawlessness, and that's not what it is. It's about getting people to do the right job. So when you get a police officer who is overzealous and going out there dealing with all the stresses and then has a gun, is his first weapon of choice, you know, as opposed to somebody who might be you know, a trauma therapist or somebody who's inside the community and can go talk to people in the community. And that's the thing, you know, there's other communities that exist in this country that, you know, I know, for instance, like in the Jewish community, like in Williamsburg, there is that private police whatever patrol that they have, you know. It's also kind of like Crime Stoppers or whatever, you know what I mean, like where it's community based, people inside the community are protecting, right? Neighborhood watch, right? That's what I'm thinking. Neighborhood watch. Sorry, not Crime Stoppers. Neighborhood watch. But yeah, things like that, whereas people inside the community, because you have a vested interest in where you live, or at least you should, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing too. I think a lot of us have been conditioned to believe that we have no ownership in this country, you know. And the thing is that, and this is something that I have a conversation with folks in my community, you know. I'm Hispanic, Latino, Latinx, whatever you want to call it, but that's what I identify as. And even within our community, there's so much infighting that it doesn't ever seem like anything ever gets done with the bigger picture at hand. And most of it comes from just miseducation from what you get from coming from whatever country you're coming from. And that's another thing too, that I think a lot of people, they will paint us as just one broad stroke, Latino, and that's it. But there's so much that's involved in that. There's so many people that have been in this country for such a long time that already have roots planted in here so deep, and yet still feel like they have no ownership in this country. And it's ridiculous. Like, that's not what, you know. And you know, one of the things that I've been also trying to deal with is, as far as like having conversations with my family and people in my community, is kind of like the understanding of what this power structure is, right? And then how some of it kind of like tries to make us assimilate and get real comfortable with that assimilation and forget about our past and our roots and everything else that we come from, and then have us just kind of be brushed over. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if you ask somebody who is in this country considered Latino, if where they're from, if they consider themselves Latino, they're gonna say no. They are Chilean, they're Ecuadorian, they're Dominican, they're all these different countries. You only become Latino when you arrive here. You know what I'm saying? This is when you get painted with that broad stroke. But when you come from other places, you already have all this other politics that play into it. And this country actually has a big a lot of those places are like testing grounds for this country, unfortunately, you know. So if one thing, you know, that I ask a lot of people too, as well as become familiar with what's going on in this country, learn about what's going on in other country, because believe it or not, revolutions and all these type of things are happening over there because people are fighting for the same reasons that people are fighting over here. You know what I'm saying? And we need to kind of have that realization, like it's global. It's not just this country. And one of the biggest things that I've had a discussion with my family in particular was their idea of what culture is and what nationalism is, and kind of sort of being confused about what that is, right? You know, if you tell somebody, I'm not trying to paint broad strokes, but I'm just going from my own what I've been kind of like living through. So I'm Ecuadorian and Salvadoran, right? So Central and South American. But if you ask somebody from Ecuador, do you see yourself, you know, with your national identity, and you call that culture? And they'll be like, yes, it's culture. It's culture. That's what we represent. We're Andean, Incan, and the Spanish and that, right? That's a story. But the minute you say, so do you see yourself similar to a Peruvian, a Bolivian, a Chilean? No, they're over there. That's those people, those problems, their things. And that's a national identity. That has nothing to do with culture at that point, because we're all the same people with that. You know, and that's where I think a lot of that gets messed up, and especially when we come to this country. So that's my point that I wanted to add.
For a moment, if I could add on to that, I want to
Please
be
do, brother.
extra.
Please do.
I want to be extra transparent in this, because I just think that's, a lot of the times we have to be extra transparent as people, or else these little hidden truths, the one that go unsaid, sometimes those are like everything has to be put out on the table. And even when we were speaking earlier with the whole Kanye thing, I thought of like an analogy with those, like when you go, you grab a large net and you go fishing, and you try to grab like little shells or crabs, right? And all the sand falls through. Like I don't want to shoot back to that Kanye conversation, but I feel like there was some gems in there. We still getting all the sand and all the extra stuff also in that net. So it really needs to be articulated and combed through, because somewhere in there, there's definitely bits of truth, but then elsewhere, there's things that are just not well thought out. Now, that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, where I was saying I want to be transparent in my past, not my personal past, but my grandparents and ancestry. There was something that I remember my grandma, my mother's side, she's now passed away, and she didn't even, for many years of her life, she didn't even speak to my mother. It wasn't the most civil situation, but I remember my mother told me a conversation that they had once. And, I come from a, Jewish family, not necessarily religious, but, ancestry, from the Bronx, New York. And I remember my mother said, her mother said to her, when all these things were going on, if it weren't, she said something along the lines of, oh, if it wasn't for the Black people, all this happening to them, it would be the Jews. She was a little kind of like definitely prejudiced. She said something, it was fucked up, but she said something like better. It was along the lines of like better them than us. If it wasn't the Blacks getting it right now, it would be the Jews, right? And me as a Caucasian Jewish brother, I recognize, yes, we were persecuted, but we were able to camouflage, right? Because we have the fair skin, the white skin. But it was, and then that drives me to my second thought is, even today I was analyzing a class, and in young childhood and even up through middle school and high school, there's bullies, right? People get picked on, and it's not always because of race, but it's just, I think nature is people look for certain things in people. They look for a weakness, or they look for a reason, and they'll try to bully you, right? And when you talk about now the conversation of nationalism and things of that nature, I feel like it's different groups of people getting together and say, oh, we're gonna bully this group now. You know what I mean? In a different level. So it starts as small as just, like animals trying to pick on one another. I don't really know where I'm going with that and how you change it, but it's just a different way maybe to look at racism, in a way that I was literally just thinking about as you guys were speaking on it. And I don't know how you're able to change that. But I think it's just people need to continue to be transparent and speak out against, like, and sometimes it's having that awkward conversation. Like I said, I'm very adaptable, I'm very versatile, and I find myself in so many different communities. And sometimes I'll find myself around, people who feel real comfortable saying certain comments just because, I'm a fair skinned brother. And, sometimes you got to step in and you got to check them, and you got to make that, you got to step in there. And now, you outnumber maybe 4 or 5 to 1, but but you have to try to be well spoken and make a point that maybe somebody didn't realize. And so that then they could take it back home with themselves, and they could digest that for a moment, because people are getting around who they're comfortable with, and they're cheering on the hatred. And they're like, yeah. But I don't know, man. I'm just observing and speaking what I'm experiencing.
And like I think the simplest way to look at racism is that people have problems and they want to blame someone else because they don't want to take responsibility for that shit. That's really what it is. They're like, oh, we can't get jobs. Like, no, you're not trying because you know what I mean? You're going to blame other people or whatever it is that racist people are really just like not taking responsibility
Lack of
for
accountability.
their own lives, accountability. And like, you know, it's such an easy way out. It's such an easy way out. And yeah.
It sucks, bro.
Yeah, we turn the mirror around. God damn.
I was code switching before I learned that was a thing. And then when I learned what it was, I was like, well, that sucks. I get it in the sense that it's the same people, but different code and tone and inflection and presentation. I get it. Still sucks. And I hate that, you know, what was that called? What was that movie? Sorry to Bother You. I think that was like a transformative movie on the low. And I think that it's not going to get its fair shakes for some time. I think it's, at this point, probably cult classic because I don't think folks are raving about it. But I think in like 10 years, 20 years.
I think the ending is the most jarring part of it all. Like that's the part that it's like,
I think that
turns all the way.
Like
the movie just goes all the way.
Yeah, I think that it represents a lot. I think it represents something other than the amazing, like, insane, you know, it looked crazy and it was like, what? But I think that represents something. And I think that we're working toward figuring it out. I think some folks may get it, lucky them. But I love that movie. And I think that speaks to the way that we're aware of the fact that there's a difference in community and neighborhood, in culture, in comfortability. But if, you know, I think 2020 has taught us, like I'm from up north. I think 2020 has taught us a lot, this, you know, and one of those things is that you got to do what's right for you, and you got to like understand your ground, learn your ground, maybe relearn your ground, and then defend your ground. And don't allow the things, the energies. I think energies kind of gets overused. It represents more, you know, I think folks can be more specific. I feel like people get lazy with it, but your energies and your community, your friends, the people you associate with, like, people aren't coming, like, you know, thank God, I guess that over time I've worked to not have my network be full of people that would have, you know, some outstanding views right about now, because they would be checked and we'd have a conversation. And, you know, I may lose a friend, but it would be worth it because that's what's going on now. People have to be held accountable. It's really easy to type whatever here. People are way bigger on the chances of things that they may or may not even really believe in real life. So if you see a friend that posts some outrageous thing, if you see them like, hey, what's up with that? Because their tone may be different. And if it is, then maybe it's a deeper conversation as to why you're fronting this ideology. Why is that the trending cool thing for you versus, you know?
Well, I wanted to kind of reiterate something that SonSu kind of brought up about love and like unity, right? I think one of the things that we need to have is understanding, and you know, and also compassion. So, for instance, you know, a lot of my folks have been miseducated, so I think I take it upon myself to go and show them and re-educate them, or show or the things that I'm finding out for myself, I share with them, so that way they can do with that information what they want. And one of the positive things that I've seen, I mean, one of the amazing things that I've seen is my daughter grow up around this, and then her have this type of attitude that she has towards a lot of these situations that are going on, with a different like mind state, not going there with just her conditioning or whatever you thought was the conditioning you're getting from the educational system or from what society, what your family's saying. But at the same time, I'm not trying to throw away my family quite yet, just to get my point across. And if anything, I've been working harder, and sometimes, you know, those things become like hurdles that I just gonna have to just leap over, even with my bad back and everything. I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do it, because if I just throw it away, then it just like it's left to nothing. And one of the things that you know, I'm appreciative from my experience is that, you know, with all the trials and tribulations that I've been through, my family has supported me through a lot of this. And so because of that, I can't just throw them away. So if anything, I'm just going to continue to keep educating them, you know, showing them what's the truth about a lot of the stuff that they've been miseducated on. continue to open their eyes, and then have them open my eyes about a lot of the stuff maybe that they were just afraid to share with me in the past because of it, and that's what's happening. So I'm so grateful for these opportunities. I'm also grateful for this community that I have, that even with all the everything that's going on, we able to just get together and have a conversation. So thank you. I love everybody on here, by the way. I really do.
I love you too, big bro.
Yeah, bro.
Nah, but for real, I'm proud of Sienna. I'm proud to know you and be like, yo, I've known her for some time. I've seen the growth. There's layers and levels to this onion right now, but I'm thankful that I have the folks in my corner that I do, and the folks that I associate with and I know and I trust and appreciate. I'm thankful that we're able to come together on a platform and talk our talk, because a lot of us are the gem keepers, or the resource for people, or people come to us for advice, or we offer advice, and we share our life and what our insight. And to be able to do it in an organized way like this, of course, we're talking about real shit, so it's gonna get hot, and there's passions and emotions, and things are confusing, and we don't know. We're not experts. No one's an expert in half the shit that's going on right now, but we're learning together, and we're respecting each other's space and valuing. I'm sorry, I know I got a lot of sound behind me right now. I'm trying to fix that. I'm thankful that we have this space, and I'm thankful that is that Pop Smoke? I'm really thankful that we're able to be here, and we're able to, get this message across and share it in a bigger form, because each one teach one's a real concept that I've heard since I was young, and it didn't make sense. And it's making more sense now more than ever. I've been doing the music education and now working with Producer's Edge, stuff's clicking. And I'm thankful that we have these opportunities. And, I think if we all encourage our friends to try and get a group of people together that they know, and maybe some that they don't. We have new people on here every week.
Yes, thank you for bringing in Jai Yoko. Shout out, yo, I love her energy, her voice, and everything. Yes, indeed. Ever since she came in from the last call, it was just I was like, yeah, she's definitely got it.
I'm super thankful, and I'm once again grateful to see Sienna. I'm grateful to see people that we're engaging with and we're working to bring into this. I'm really looking forward to the one that's going to happen in 2 weeks. Fortunately, no, I said it wrong. Fortunately, I won't be the host in 2 weeks. We're going to have another member of the Producer's Edge fam, Shelly Spin, host the next edition of What's Going On. And she's reaching out to gather her resources of folks that she want to have on. I'm looking forward to watching. Probably won't even be on. We'll see. I don't know. I'm anticipating not being on to keep it being. I'm just really excited.
Comments on that YouTube chat.
Are we?
No, you would be. I mean.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be in there. I'm gonna be so active. But I think now's a good time for everybody to shout out their IGs.
Yeah, I think some people's devices might have died.
We lost them. They weren't ready. It was
they didn't start the fire.
Too much pressure.
We landed in a beautiful space. For everybody watching on YouTube and the interwebs, if you're reading this or watching this or listening to this, like and subscribe. Producer's Edge. We're so close to our goal of 100. It's crazy. It's crazy. Things are going to happen after 100, and then 200, and then 500, and then 1,000. And then we could go viral and stuff. My name's Dana J. My Instagram is Dana J Daily, every day. I've got a SoundCloud and stuff. But just check out Producer's Edge, and all of our stuff links together for the most part. Thank you.
Sienna is more Sienna Please, right, on Instagram. Is there anything else you want to shout out? I'm going to put that in here.
Yeah, definitely. More Sienna Please on Instagram. Sienna Robinson, that's my whole government on Facebook, but you got to do it because we get into things on Facebook differently than Instagram. Also, check out the real Moosh Boosh. Shouts out to my girl Concrete Glamour. We do a show on Sundays on 10,000 Hour the Network. So if you guys want to hear more of these types of things that I talk about, along with my counterpart, the Moosh to my Boosh, I think you'll be highly entertained by us, highly appetizing delectable delights that we are. So check us out at Moosh Boosh on Instagram, and you can check out Moosh Boosh on YouTube if you want to see some of our shows.
When's the music dropping?
Oh my God! Don't forget
that part.
No, don't do that to me, yo. I don't know. You know me, Rick. I gotta feel it in my spirit.
Well,
I'm feeling it right now.
I've been feeling that last thing you sent me, so that's all I'm gonna say.
I know, but we talked about the guy in the
Yeah. Well, we need to talk because
right now. If the universe allows it, there we go.
So wait, how do you spell Moosh Boosh?
Well, how you spell Moosh Boosh? Think about it.
Moosh.
MOOSHBOOSH. Moosh at the real Moosh Boosh. Yep.
Oh, the real Moosh Boosh. That's what I was missing. Word. I'm following. I'm putting it on our chat. I'm putting Jai Yoko on our chat. Jai Yoko, thank you so much for your participation. We want to say, like, we love you guys, Sienna and Jay, for like holding no punches. Just really.
That's all I know, bro.
Authenticity.
All I know is to be 100, man. I appreciate y'all having me. Real talk. It's good to be on the platform that lets you to like be yourself. Yeah. You feel me? Like
Jay's with the shits.
Like, I'm always I cause the shits. You feel me? Like I want to start the shit for real. You feel me? Like I'm such a shit starter. But no, I really appreciate this platform. And I don't call it a safe space. I call it a real space. You feel me? Where we're able to really be ourselves and get this out. So I appreciate y'all so much, man. Whatever y'all need from me, anytime y'all got it. I promise. I'm coming on the next 1 or 2 weeks, and I will be on time. I swear. I won't call my kid before none of that. But again, this is dope, man. Again, conversations that make people uncomfortable is how we change the world. So this is definitely changing the world for us, man.
Dope. Yeah, and I want to say we're currently working on our pilot for the Producer's Edge web series, and it's going to be kind of a variety show with interviews and tutorials and like art, visual art, video art, all kinds of stuff. So